Looks like things are worse than expected. Scarlett's fingernails sink into the wooden table. I hear the sound of the wood creaking beneath my feet. It's becoming increasingly unpleasant. Come on, calm down. Calm down? It's not only Cecile and Eloise. Other students may have been exposed to this incense too. Do you not understand how serious this is? This incense causes hallucinations. This specific kind, at least. Actually, we should have realized it earlier because they explicitly said that, but apparently we weren't paying attention. Okay. No, he doesn't realize it. Eloise already said that everyone is under pressure because expectations are so high. It's not normal for them to be so confident when it comes to this year's competition, given what happened the year before. Something seemed off from the get-go. According to Cecile, she experienced hallucinations from a different perspective. Her classmate seems to have made impressive progress when it comes to painting from strange perspectives, and has improved her spatial awareness. It's not hard to form a connection here. Of course, there's no definite evidence for this. It's all just guesswork. The number of people who've had similar experiences has increased. She puts her head in her hands and groans. Got more like translated stuff. Grounds. If that's true, I'd rather not have gotten involved in this. Let's find a way to prove our suspicions instead of complaining about it all day. That shouldn't be too difficult. We can just keep an eye out for art club students who have made sudden progress when it comes to their paintings. Did you ask me to come here today just to scare me? I wish I had that kind of spare time. You left in such a hurry yesterday that there wasn't any time left to discuss this in more detail. To be honest, I don't think we have any time to waste. That sounds serious. I assume you found out something big yesterday? Well, let's be honest, he's pretty serious. Pretty dramatic. You could say that. I think I've gained some insight. So what is it? We've spent a lot of time and energy on this already. If my assumption's right, proof of our theory should be much easier to find than we expected. We're progressing faster than I thought, Get out my notebook. It's so interesting that this very high demand lawyer is so invested in this random thing, and then this... I mean, it makes sense for the bookstore owner who has, literally nothing better to do. But... interesting. Scarlett sits up straighter. She seems more composed again. She knows that a calm approach is the only way to work such a case. So, how is this related to Cecile's hallucinations? How do I prove the connection? Okay, what happened to Eloise? Underneath its pure white exterior, Phoenix High School is hiding something bad. Can we find out more? What happened to Eloise? So the cheating incident, the painting, Scarlett discovered a certain watercolor painting in the art club's room, forgery, or not forgery, plagiarism, and then a painting and a pool of blood. Is that it? Oh, hold. Perhaps? Suspicion approved. The former misdeeds of the Art Association. It's such a cool little, let's go with the case files. It's such a cool little menu and stuff. I wish we saw more of it. It says, Eloise and Lily, the former president, had a fierce argument concerning the fraud. During the fight, Eloise was inadvertently pushed down the stairs and sustained serious injuries. That's one possibility, and a dependable one at that. Jeez. This picture again? As we know from the description of the hallucination, Eloise suffered a serious injury. In that particular hallucination, Eloise fell to the ground, lying there alongside her painting. The details were so distinctive that they leave no doubt. That painting is the one called Bloom. Now it is believed that Eloise is the artist, meaning that there are two possible scenarios. Eloise either plagiarized someone else's work, or she simply took back what was hers in the first place. From what I've gathered from various documents, we shouldn't point the finger at Eloise, but at the girl named Lily, the one that we've confirmed to be plagiarizing. That would rule out scenario number 1. I wonder if the person who exposed the whole thing to the Young Artists Association was even in the club. In short, Eloise's injury is related to her having made the painting. In the hallucination, Eloise is lying at the bottom of the stairs. I reconfirmed that with Cecile. Although she couldn't see much, she's absolutely certain about that. So let's note this down. Bottom of the stairs, not the top, on the ground. The only logical conclusion is that she fell down the stairs. Yet, strangely, Cecile sees Eloise with blood behind her head. I highly doubt she ran downstairs backwards. So what possible scenarios could lead to that situation? I can only think of two. Someone pushed her from above, or someone pulled her from behind. Both seem unusually extreme, considering it's only about a painting. Falling down the stairs, pretty common cause of injury. Makes sense to drop a painting when something like that happens. Even if Cecile isn't on the best speaking terms with the others, it shouldn't be too hard to confirm that an accident like that took place last semester. You mean that this could have been the event that led to Lily leaving the school to continue her studies at home instead? The two students I talked to also alluded to the fact that her parents would have had enough influence to keep a lid on the whole plagiarizing incident. Even if people gossip, it's all just an art competition in the end. As long as the people involved don't talk about it openly and nobody approaches the media, there's no way it could turn into such a big thing. So things were going well, but then the incident led to Lily having to leave the school as quietly as possible. So they allowed her to stay at home to keep this incident from being exposed. It's just speculation, but from what we've gathered, it makes a lot of sense. Scarlett seems to agree. Did Lily do it? It doesn't seem so far-fetched after all. So this is about as far as we can get with what we have so far. I'll follow up on the incident and verify a few of the smaller things. Maybe the situation will be clearer after that. Do you plan on visiting the school again? It's too early for that. If I show up again so soon, it might cause suspicion. First, I'll find a way to check the school's administrative records. Do things the official way. Alright, there's one more thing you should keep an eye out for. And that is... incense. I need to know as much as possible about it. How far it has spread already. Or it's already spread. If this kind of thing is also popular among students outside the art club, the situation is much worse than we thought. was that thing about Eloise's relative? You believe that? Scarlet looked stunned and doesn't seem to share my doubts. I can understand that someone with a modern upbringing like her might have difficulty grasping older traditions. Normal incense, before being sold as a finished product, needs to go through cleaning, drying, segmentation, and other processes. Needless to say, it's quite complex. Looking at it from that angle, the incense that Cecile showed me is quite rudimentary. The powder should have been put into a mold and pressed before being wrapped in paper. Although the color looked different, its contents resembled wood chips. It should be classified as incense wood powder. Which raises a new question. Process heritage. In our country, the use of incense that retains its natural appearance and features was popular around the time before the Han Dynasty. Many pieces of wood needed to be burned in containers along with charcoal, which is an arduous procedure. The product basically evolves into a scented piece of wood shaped kind of like a chopstick. He's info dumping about incense. If it's made into a powder mixed with honey, then further processed with spices, it can be shaped freely. But it can also be conveniently used for further cooking and baking. The aroma is more mellow. As a result, it's faster to make and more variety is possible. Think about how easy it is to use today. For example, when it's lit at graveyards. It's much more convenient. In addition, there's a long-running practice of using powdered wood to burn incense, which requires some sort of container. The traditional use of incense is still around, and these appliances are not difficult to find and buy. Yeah, I see those small stoves online all the time, and they're pretty cheap. Back when I investigated the countryside, I saw an old man with a small portable stove and a box that he used to carry incense wood powder. An unexpectedly reliable and practical device. Those are basically the ways to make incense that have developed here in China. However, the production process of this lilac grass is more common in Japan and Thailand. Why would an old man in this country have a traditional recipe that's not at all traditional here in China? Do you think Eloise isn't telling us the truth about where it came from? I do, and the rough way in which the incense was rolled didn't look like it was mass-produced. Then it's highly suspicious that she's the one supplying it. It's dangerous. Practically a drug dealer. We are volatile creatures. If we're offered a cheap way to make our troubles disappear, we don't care if it's a cure or a cause. Or cure or curse. I can read. Cecile's a perfect example. It's hard to believe, and if it were me, I'd probably try to find some more wealthy and less troublesome adults as customers. Well, now that I think about it, Phoenix High School is full of kids from rich families. Scarlet sighs and readjusts her sunglasses. If I have to ask around for it, I might make a little more noise than usual. I hope you're okay with that? Just try not to alert the people responsible. We don't want them to become suspicious and make things even more difficult for us. I see. How about talking to one of the students again? That could be kind of difficult. But hey, I'll find a way. Just sit tight until I know more. I really think Scarlett should work as a private investigator. I don't think I'd ever be brave enough to tell her that, though. She should. I mean, it seems like that's what she wants to be more than a lawyer, but okay. Her being a lawyer and so good at fieldwork at the same time is really challenging my professional awareness. These past 2 days have been really hard on you. No biggie. Scarlett puts the papers back into her bag. By the looks of it, she doesn't intend to take the afternoon off either. She is so caught up in her talking about her plans that I barely say anything. Scene change. Sometimes effort and results aren't in proportion. I look up at the ceiling and try to rest my weary eyes for a while. Reading always requires time, the more complicated books obviously taking longer to finish. The books dropped off by the mysterious stranger aren't entertaining and don't make for good reading material. They're certainly, concerning, though. Those Lovecraft books. Sometimes the writing style is obscure. Sometimes important references or even huge chunks of a chapter are missing. In a couple of cases, I can't even make out what the texts are about because they break seemingly every rule of basic language. For professional reasons, I have had exchanges with various experts and archaeological scholars in the past. For people like us, piecing together and trying to understand confusing ancient books is nothing new. I dare say that we even enjoy the process. Old-fashioned, elaborate phrases have accompanied me for most of my life. The pain in my mind doesn't really have anything to do with them. My brain instinctively refuses to read anything more, just like a child covering its ears to escape a ghost story. It doesn't make any sense, so I'm especially reluctant to give up too easily. If I put them on the market, I'm afraid they would cause a lot of turmoil. No one comes to your store, buddy.